All right, thank you everyone for coming out to, it's not the preseason press conference since their season already got underway, but before the first home game of the season, the 2024 Charlotte 49ers softball team coming off of a 3-2 weekend down in Tallahassee. This past weekend, we've got the Charlotte Invitational coming up this weekend where the Niners will play Boston University and Canisius. Ashley Chastain, head coach of the softball program, in the middle, and Corey Hoffler to the audience's left, and Sam Gress to the audience's right. Coach, we'll go ahead and start it off with an opening statement about this past weekend and what you look to see coming home this week.
Yeah. I thought the team played really well this weekend. Obviously, tough competition from the very start. Game one, the biggest win in program history. Could not be more proud of the team for that win. It was monumental. It'll be a win that we look back on and remember forever. So that was really touching. It was really special for the program, not only for our current team, but I thought a lot about all the players that had played for us the past few years, and then, in the previous decades. It was just a really big win for us. So we got off on a great foot. Thursday night was electric. We had great fan showing, and then just kind of settled into the weekend. We beat Texas Tech, and Florida A&M ended up splitting with Texas Tech and Florida State. But we learned a lot. The group was ready, and they executed well on the field. So we had a great weekend and learned a lot, and we're moving on to week 2.
Questions?
Coach, that is a massive win to start, and that 3-2 weekend against great competition. You said you learned a lot. What exactly did you learn about the team that you can take into the Charlotte Invitational this weekend?
Well, I think we learned a lot specifically about our pitching staff. We had a lot of arms on the field all weekend. We had a great performance from Sam Gress. We had really good showing from Barefoot, Elkins, and even some of our younger freshmen got some experience, a couple innings here and there. So I think we learned a lot about the circle. We anticipated being deeper in the circle this year. That was something but we focused on in the offseason, really focused on the development of a deeper pitching staff going into the 24 campaign. So for me, it was good to see that ring true. I thought they all threw well, really executed well, and we played great defense all weekend. And that's what we want to build the program off of, week in and week out, is to be able to pitch and play defense, and that gives us a chance to win. So learned a lot about the defense and the pitching. And offensively, we're going to face really good pitching all year, and so I thought Corey Hoffler had, here she is, she had a great weekend at the plate for us, sat in the 2-hole for us and really performed well and was a key offensive player for us, made things happen. I thought Lexi Winters had an explosion of her first weekend offensively, so that was really good to see her. She was in the bottom of the order and ended up finding her way to the top before the weekend was over.
Sam, with that Florida State win to start the season off in the circle, what were some of the emotions you were going through as, probably one of the most dramatic wins of program history?
Going into that game, there was no expectation other than to win the game from the entire team. We were going into that game expecting to win and wanting to win, and so it was just a compete mindset the entire game. But, once the game's over, it was overwhelming emotions. Everyone was just super excited, and to have our entire fan base, families there, was just even more special. So.
And Sam, I'll keep kind of peppering you with questions here. Coming off of a Conference USA Newcomer of the Year last year, you had a 1.91 ERA. By all accounts, a great season. How do you build on that in 2024?
Just a growth mindset. I'm always wanting to get better. I'm always wanting to learn. Last year was in the past, and this year's a new year. So just trying to be better for my team in whatever role they want me to be in.
This is for Corey. Typically, before games, we'll see you kind of leading the pregame huddle, being very vocal and talkative. Going into this season, your 5th year, how much of a leadership role do you want to take? And then for Coach Ash, if you can expand on that and talk about the importance of having a player like Corey, a veteran leader in the program.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I've learned a lot, especially over the past 3 years, just looking up to different leaders that we've had in our program has been huge for me. And then now this year, coming into that role as head leader, head captain, has been awesome. Doing it beside of Sam and Michaela Mitchell as well is special. But I think the biggest thing is that I've learned a lot from Coach Ash and how she leads the team and how she's led the team for the past 5 years. I've got to watch her do that in some really cool ways, and so I've learned the most from that. And it's special. We have a really, really special group of girls who I love so much, and so it's easy to walk alongside of them. And we have younger players who we can call up and call higher, who we need to have a really big role on the team this year too. So being able to walk alongside of them as well has been special.
Yeah, Corey Hoffler embodies everything about this program and has since she stepped foot on campus. I think Corey's at the pinnacle of her career, both on and off the field. She's grown tremendously and keeps growing, I think, week to week. And that's the cool part for me, is just to kind of see the evolution of who she is and who she's become for this team. She's the best player leader I've ever been around anywhere I've ever been. She holds the people around her to a higher standard. She sets the example herself. Like, whatever she's asking anyone to do around her, she does herself. And, we've always wanted to be a program that is based on player-led accountability. It's something we talk a lot about. So she leads us in every way. She's our head captain this year, alongside with Sam Grass and Michaela Mitchell, and they've done a great job with this group so far. I mean, we're young. If you look at the roster, we've got a lot of new faces on the roster this year, and a lot of younger players that are going to impact the game and play for us. And so I think their leadership is just really key in the success that we're going to see all year.
Coach, going back to that Florida State win, a lot of adversity in that game, down early, coming back late, forcing extras. Then you have the runner on first getting hit with the ball to be called out, multiple reviews. In game one of the season, it could be really easy for the team to get down in that situation, going against a team that made it to the Women's College World Series final last year. But just talk about the resiliency and the fight that team had to battle through all of that and come out on top with the biggest win in program history.
Yeah. It was a lot of emotions. There's already a ton of emotions going into opening day. It's kind of like Christmas, for us. So the team was just really, I think, amped up from the moment they woke up that morning, and I think it's really natural. Of course, it would have been that much adversity and extra innings, game one, and I think they just stuck in it. And, Sam touched on it a few minutes ago. Maybe to the outside world, it was a big upset, and on paper, it was the biggest win in program history. But what impressed me the most was just that the team truly believed that they were going to win. And that started way before we got to the field. That started hours before in our preparation. It's a game we've talked a lot about since August. Kind of the team knew the schedule before everyone else knew the schedule. So they've had this game on their mind and just really ready to make a statement of what this team was going to do this year. And it's a long grind. It's a marathon of a year, and it was just one game. But I think that I was just really proud to see them fight so hard. And really, at no point did they ever think they were going to lose. And I think you could see that from them, whether it was in the dugout, on the field, whatever adversity was faced. And there was a lot of replay and a lot of things that were overturned and, different things like that. But we just asked them to stay focused in the present moment and just keep fighting until someone says the game's over. And it's our job, my job and the staff's job, just to manage the game, on things that they don't have to worry about. So I thought they were head down, eyes forward, just really focused on the mission of winning the game from the very first pitch.
This will be for Sam. Coach Ash just talked about it before, the importance of having a staff being deep in the circle. Talk about some of the newcomers this year, or just some of the your teammates on the pitching staff and kind of the strides they've made in the offseason, and some faces that we can expect to be a big contributor for your team this season.
Yeah, we have 7 pitchers on staff this year, and this past weekend you got to see all of them throw, and I think that's what you're going to see this entire season. Like Coach Ash said, in the offseason, that was a big focus, was the pitching staff as a whole and being able to use each pitcher to their strengths for the team to help the team win in any situation. But to be specific, Lena Elkins, she has just gotten so much better from last year. She does not look like a freshman. She does not look like a sophomore. She looks like a veteran out there on the field. And you saw that this past weekend, so it was really cool to see her do that. Jordana Barefoot, Brooke Bowling. You're just going to see a lot of new names out there that have just gotten better in the offseason. So it's going to be a cool year for the pitching staff.
And then for Coach Ash, you bring in, I believe, 7 freshmen, 3 transfers. Maybe talk about some of the newcomers, some faces that maybe Niner fans don't know, and sort of the skill sets you have on this year's team.
Yeah, I think someone we're going to talk a lot about is Abby Knight. She led off for us all weekend. We've anticipated her being our leadoff all year, all off season really. Once we started to get to know her as an offensive player, and she's someone that's going to be in there a lot. She's gritty. She's going to get on base a lot. She's fearless. That was, I think, one thing we identified about Abby early on was that she's just not shaken by a lot. She was on base for us a lot this weekend. I think she's going to continue to be just a staple in the top of our order. So she's been a really cool addition for the team. She has a strong voice in the locker room. She's not a captain this year, but she's a strong voice for the team and really sets a tone for everyone around her. Leah Powell, I think Leah Powell will be someone that we very dynamically use in the pitching staff. She threw a couple batters for us against Florida A&M, and we're working through some things on our end internally with her. But she's got big time ball flight data. She's got high velo, so she'll be someone that I think once we get settled into season will have a tremendous impact on what we're doing.
And then maybe for Corey as well, any players in the lineup that you want to highlight? Just the teammates that you've been working with this year, and what we can expect throughout the Charlotte order.
Yeah, for sure. I think as an infield, for sure, having Ariana Rhodey next to me for the first time. She's a sophomore this year and got to watch Cass play first base all last year, and she has been such a huge part of our infield, and has been really special to play next to her and watch her grow up over the past year. She's going to be a huge role player for us. And then Savannah Wynn and Tegan playing shortstop, back and forth. Tegan is a freshman this year, and she is going to play a big role, whether that's in the lineup or on defense. She's going to be a really, really great player for us. And Savannah has the experience of playing and starting almost every game her freshman year, and that's huge for us. And she played great defense all weekend, and along with Ella Chansey, as we know, made some huge plays for us. So, yeah, I think the infield and then outfield with Michaela Mitchell leading the charge out there in center field is going to be huge for us too. So I think defensively, as Coach Ash mentioned, we had a great weekend, and I think we're going to really build off of that for the rest of the year.
And speaking of building off of it, this is open-ended, but last year, a banner year for the program. You made the first NCAA tournament program history. What's it going to take to sustain that success, and how confident do you feel that you have the personnel to do that this season?
Oh, we know we have the personnel to do it this year. I think we're better in so many areas, and last year's team was really good. We talk a lot about not living in the past, and so last year's team is celebrated. It continues to be celebrated, always will be, is kind of a first to knock down a door for us, and all of those players that were a part of that staff that was a part of that year. So it'll be a year and a team that we don't forget, but we've moved on from that, and it's really important to focus on what this year's team can do and the dynamic of this year's team, because the locker room is so different. We have a ton of young players, we have new staff members, and in so many ways the program has grown and continues to grow. So for me, that's been really cool of knocking down a door last year, and then knowing this year that we have personnel to do it, to do it again, and to go even further. And so I think keeping the kids neutral, keeping the staff in the present moment, staying week to week. If you've looked at our schedule, I think it's important to stay week to week and not look too far ahead. There's a lot of excitement right now in our game in general across the country, and just if you follow softball and you watch some of the matchups this weekend, the game is really good right now, and there's a lot of competition, and we're just excited to have the opportunity to play some of those opponents here coming up in the next few months. But we're going to stay week to week, present in what we're doing, and we think that gives us the best chance when we come around to the NCAA time. It'll give us the best chance to host a regional, get in a regional, and knock the door down to going to a super regional, which is what this team has the capability of doing.
Anyone else?
All right, thank you everyone for coming out to today's press conference. The Charlotte Invitational gets underway Friday morning at 11 a.m. with Boston University against Queens, and then the Niners begin their weekend at 2 against Boston, and then 5 o'clock against Canisius. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.